A 3-year-old on a scooter, a man walking his bike across the road, cyclists out for a morning ride. Rarely a week passes in Tucson without news of a deadly car crash. The victims are our children, parents, siblings, friends. With stories of crashes so common, it's easy to forget the problem isn't about numbers, it's about lives. Brendan Lyons is a Tucsonan whose life was upended one morning in 2013.
It was a clear sunny day. It was, I think, an hour or two before noon, and went out with my girlfriend on the morning of her birthday to go ride and to train for El Tour de Tucson. This happened in October. El Tour was in November. The majority of our route consisted of riding along the river path up until that little area that we were riding up to Sabino Canyon. And I mean, to be honest, that's all I really remember. I do know that a distracted motorist at 45 miles an hour struck us from behind as we were in the bike lane. Woke up a few days later in a hospital bed. I sustained 6 fractured vertebrae and fractured pelvis on both sides, and took me away from my career as a firefighter.
It happened here on October 4th, 2013. Brendan Lyons and his fiancée Lorena were hit from behind by a distracted driver. When he woke up in the hospital, Brendan didn't know if he'd ever walk again, and he had no idea how dramatically his life would change over the next 2 years.
911, how can I help you?
The bicyclist was just hit by a car.
Did you witness the accident, sir?
I did not. We just drove up on it. There's two bicyclists down, or cyclists down.
911, where's your emergency?
Yes, I'd like to report a bicyclist being hit.
911, where's your emergency?
It's a vehicle accident. It's a bicyclist and a car.
Okay, were you involved?
Nope, just past it. There's a whole line of us. Nobody could pull over. I'm sure you're going to have several calls. The cyclist is conscious, but definitely on the ground.
911.
Oh, my car just swerved and I accidentally hit 2 bikers.
Okay, is somebody injured?
Yes, one, maybe 2. I'm not sure. 2 injured.
Please. 164. How are you?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm shaking like an ogre.
Okay. We have people on the way already.
Okay.
Are they both injured, sir?
Yes, they are.
Are they both breathing?
Yeah, they're both breathing.
Okay, sir, I'm going to transfer you to medical to see if there's any way you can help them, okay?
Okay.
Fire department. Is it for bicyclists that were struck?
Yes.
Okay, we have them on the way. Were you there when it happened?
I was the one that happened, did it on accident. The car swerved and I hit them on accident.
Oh, okay. And what color is your vehicle?
My car is a 2012 Ford Escape.
What color is it?
Red.
Red? Okay, we have the fire department and the ambulance on the way. Can you still see them both?
Yes, they're both right here.
Okay, and are they both conscious?
Yes, they're both conscious.
Are they complaining of any type of injuries right now?
One is, yes.
Okay, where is he saying he's injured at?
He's saying everywhere, but mainly his back.
His back, okay. And is it a male or a female?
It's a male.
And the other one, is it also a male?
It's a female. I don't know about Mary injured.
Oh my God.
I think her arm is
We have 2 bicyclists hit by a car, and they are sharing their story. They are on a mission. The quick facts on this rural metro firefighter. Brendan Lyons and his girlfriend were riding on eastbound Sunrise Drive west of Culp last Friday morning. Deputies say a driver also headed eastbound, took his eye off the road and drifted into the bike lane. Brendan and Lorena were hit from behind. The driver received 2 civil citations. As News 4 Tucson's Danielle Lerner shows us, this accident fueling a push for tougher safety laws. It's new at 6.
I spoke with Brendan Lyons earlier. He's here at Diamond Children's, and he'll be here for a while recovering from serious injuries. He says he's not only lucky to be alive, he's now on a renewed mission to keep other cyclists safe.
When I see my bicycle, I don't know why I'm here. I should be dead.
Brendan survived, but his body is broken. The 29-year-old rural Metro firefighter now forced to focus on helping himself instead of helping others.
I keep thinking that over and over. I should not be alive.
His girlfriend Lorena is also recovering. The ER nurse suffered physical injuries but says the memories are haunting.
I saw him on the road and I honestly thought he was dead. I honestly did.
The accident took Brendan off his bike, but it hasn't put the brakes on his passion for advocacy. He's the founder of Look, Save a Life, a local nonprofit that supports safe cycling. Even from his hospital bed, he's working with state leaders to develop stricter laws against distracted driving while promoting cycling education. For now, Brendan and Lorena are taking things one day at a time, ever grateful for the outpouring of support in their time of need.
Put a smile on your face and pay attention to the road. That's what I need.
It began in the blink of an eye. The car hit the two cyclists at 45 miles per hour. 2 years later, it's still hard for Brendan Lyons to talk about what happened that day.
What I understand, the bicycle was in a cluster of pieces over here, and I was just, I don't know, this is hard. This is really hard.
Brendan's bike wasn't all that was in pieces. His pelvis was fractured on both sides. He also had several fractured vertebrae. Miraculously, his fiancée Lorena only shattered her wrist.
I immediately thought of my girlfriend at the time, now fiancée. I was hoping that she was okay. I didn't know what happened, but once I realized what had transpired, it was just, a significant tragedy.
Brendan would spend the next year literally getting back on his feet. As a firefighter, he was used to working hard to stay in shape, but nothing prepared him for the road ahead. Months of endless rehab, often having to use a wheelchair to get around. In the meantime, as a cycling advocate prior to the accident, he suddenly became a living symbol for bike safety. But while he made great progress physically, the thought of ever riding again seemed impossible.
To be honest, at that time, I didn't feel I'd ever get back on the bike again. And that was a reality that struck me pretty hard, because it was a passion that led to me losing weight, me getting on the fire department. It became a lifelong passion of mine.
A passion he couldn't let go of. But the inspiration to get back on a bike would come from an unlikely source. Basketball legend and avid cyclist Bill Walton, who was inspired when he heard Brendan speak at an El Tour de Tucson dedication dinner.
They wheeled Brendan up onto the stage in his wheelchair. And while he was there in his chair, he was able, with the help of others, to stand up and deliver this most incredible, remarkable, emotional speech.
And he came up to me afterward and introduced himself to me, and he said, "Brendan, I'm Bill Walton, and I want you on my team." And I didn't know what he was talking about, and I was like, "All right, Bill, I'm still in a wheelchair right now, and I can't play basketball," and so I wasn't quite sure where this was going.
The Challenged Athletes $1 Million Challenge is an annual cycling event that covers 620 miles from San Francisco to San Diego over the course of a week, starting October 10th, all to raise money for athletes with disabilities. Only 100 cyclists are chosen to ride, and Bill Walton wanted Brendan Lyons on his team.
Brendan has climbed back up enough over the last 2 years that I have asked Brendan Lyons to come and be our guest on the Challenged Athletes Foundation $1 Million Challenge, where we ride our bikes. And Brendan's going to be out there leading the charge, San Francisco to San Diego on his bike.
Brendan Lyons accepted the invitation. And 6 months ago, got back on a bike, back to his passion, 1 mile at a time.
For me to turn that 6 months ago into riding 620 miles, it's just a thing about, hey, trying to live life to the fullest and, don't let anything get in your way of your dreams. It took 2 years, 7 months, and 2 days before I even met the man who almost took my life.
Before October 4th, 2013, Brendan Lyons and Jamal Qasim had never met, but a few seconds in time would change all that and put them both on a long road to forgiveness.
911, how can I help you?
The bicyclist was just hit by a car.
in the back of my mind, I always thought that he truly hated me for what I've done to him.
It is a belief Jamal Qasim carried inside since that October morning, the day his car drifted into the bike lane on Sunrise Road near Kolb, slamming into Brendan Lyons and his fiancée, Lorena Evans. Lorena's wrist was shattered, but Brendan had life-threatening injuries. To this day, the horror of the crash eludes him.
I remember waking up on the morning of her birthday, and we were going out for a ride. I don't remember the crash. I don't remember any of that.
But Jamal remembers every detail.
My phone started going off. I had everything through the Bluetooth center, so I didn't take my hands off the wheel. But for that half a second, I looked at the little reader to tell me who called, and looked up. I had already collided with Brendan. And at that time, all I remember seeing is pretty much him rolling off my car, and I slammed on my brakes, pulled into the dirt lot, and I looked in my mirror, which was no longer there, on the side mirror, and I was frozen.
Trying to comprehend what had just happened, Jamal says he got out of the car and realized he had just hit two people. He reached Lorena first.
She had sat up, and she's like, no, go check on him, go check on him. So when I checked on him, he was laying on his side, and then for the brief moment, I forgot he was screaming. And all I can remember that he was just laying there, and I thought I had killed him.
911.
Oh, my car just swerved and I accidentally hit two bikers.
After making the 911 call, Jamal then says he held it together until he called home.
As soon as I called my parents, I just could not stop crying. I could not speak.
Tests revealed Jamal was not impaired. He had merely taken his eyes off the road and nearly killed two people. Lorena miraculously escaped serious injury, but Brendan faced a much longer recovery. His pelvis was fractured on both sides. He also had several fractured vertebrae. After the hospital stay, he spent the next year enduring painful rehab sessions. Nearly 2 years later, he was actually back on a bike. But what wouldn't heal was a never-ending longing to know about the person who nearly ended his life.
Every opportunity that I had to either pick up a phone, I had his number from the police report, pick up the phone and call him, or write a letter and mail it to him. I got scared and I never did.
Unknown to Brendan, Jamal was going through his own hell over what happened that day, believing he was the last person Brendan would ever want to meet.
I always had that in the back of my mind, like, I physically hurt you. I put you in the hospital. I ended your firefighter career. I've done so much to hurt you. Why would you want to accept my apology?
It appeared the two might forever keep their distance until fate stepped in. As Jamal and Brendan were preparing to graduate from Pima College this month, Jamal attended a graduation event where Brendan happened to be a featured speaker. At the reception that followed, Brendan spotted Jamal and decided to act.
I look up and I saw him. And I approached him. I said his name. I introduced myself. I said, I'm Brendan Lyons. He looked at me as if he had seen a ghost.
I started to choke up.
And I gave him a hug. And before he could say anything, the three words out of my mouth were, I forgive you.
When he gave me that hug, I felt all this guilt just pour back in me. All those feelings from the day of the accident just come back. And then at the same time, it was a big relief to have that forgiveness, to have that acceptance of what had happened.
I had immediate closure. It was almost like a cleansing. It was almost as if all these years of being afraid or of what to say or how to say it, and having that closure and meeting the man who almost took my life. It was powerful.
Brought together by a mutual need to heal, Brendan and Jamal may not be destined to be lifelong friends. They did graduate together, sharing selfies. The two also agreed to sit down in front of our cameras to tell their story of forgiveness.
All too often we hear the stories of the victims that are left behind to pick up the pieces. But what this did to him, and he basically said that he was mentally paralyzed for weeks on end, and knowing that the damage that he had done to somebody else, and that he had almost killed somebody. The guilt-stricken motorist that, there's also recovery for them to have closure and to know that, to speak out and let the community know how they feel.
Jamal says it was not easy for him, but he hopes his message will keep others from a split-second mistake.
Pay attention to the road. That's the biggest part. Even if it's not your phone, you have so many other distractions. And the second message is mistakes happen. Mistakes happen to everyone, big, little, whatever it may be. But it's what you do with it is what impacts your life and everyone else's.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, on average, more than 8 people are killed and nearly 1,200 injured in the United States every day in crashes involving distracted drivers.
I often reflect upon how lucky I am and fortunate to be here, but it's not fair when you talk to these families who have lost loved ones. And I mean, there's no words that you can say that will bring them back. And you just hope that by encouraging our community and those around us to pay attention. I mean, this is completely avoidable. All too often we feel that it's not going to happen to me. But the truth is, it doesn't happen to you until it happens to you.